With more than 74 million dads in the U.S., according to the CDC, Father's Day is widely celebrated. Some people pull out their boats for a day on the water, while other families may opt for a more low-key day at home. And since millions are celebrating today, it's easy to forget that it's not a holiday everyone looks forward to.
They call them daddy issues or mommy issues for a reason, right? People have a lot of issues with their parents. I mean, even when we love our parents, rarely do you have someone who has no issues with their childhood or the relationship that they've developed with their mom and dad over the years. So I think Mother's Day, Father's Day carry a significant amount of connotation for a lot of people. A lot of us as we get older, we push aside a lot of our grudges and our emotions, and we just celebrate these days. But I think it can be really hard for a lot of folks.
That's Dr. Sanam Hafeez, a clinical neuropsychologist and the director of Comprehensive Consultation Psychological Services. She says many people forget that these types of holidays can be a real burden for some. And since Father's Day always lands on a Sunday, it's not like we can distract ourselves with the busyness of a workday. Hafeez says one of the best things to do is to make a plan for yourself ahead of time.
You don't have the day-to-day stuff to deal with, meaning there are no distractions. So if this is a day that you wanted to pick up a project, this is a day you wanted to go visit someone, this is a day you wanted to get some spring cleaning done, or you wanted to have brunch with a friend, even if you been wanting to see a movie for a while, whatever you want to do, make those plans.
If you weren't able to set up any activities for yourself in time, Hafeez says that even going for a long walk out in nature can drastically improve your mood. If you're a friend looking for ways to offer support, it's important to remember that everyone's needs differ. Someone who is estranged from their father may want to approach the day differently than a person whose dad has recently passed. It's no secret that death can be an uncomfortable topic to talk about. In fact, Radio Health Journal has numerous shows dedicated to teaching others how to support the bereaved friends and family in their lives. But for Father's Day specifically, Hafeez says that many people's initial reaction of ignoring the holiday altogether isn't going to help your loved one.
I think that's one of the things that I think comes naturally to people is try to avoid it or pretend it's not happening. But for that person, it is very real. I lost my dad 4 years ago, and I can speak from experience that, I never quite considered that there would be Father's Day, that I wouldn't have my dad with me. And I was exceptionally close to my father. But the thing is, the loss of him isn't just apparent or real to me on Father's Day, right? I think about him 365 days a year. On Father's Day, do I miss him a little more? For sure. Would it be nice if someone just, luckily I have my sisters and I have amazing friends. But if someone just said, God, well, just must suck for you today. And it's okay. I would rather hear that than someone who would gloss over it or pretend that's not the case.
Whether you lost your dad yesterday or 10 years ago, grief is not linear. Father's Day may still be extremely hard for you. And Hafeez says that's perfectly okay. There's no need to pretend to be happy. Let yourself feel every emotion and accept that this is how you feel today.
It's okay to be sad. It's okay. You're not taking anything away from anyone else. Honor your own feelings, deal with them. Write a letter to dad. Go visit his cemetery if you can. Listen to his favorite songs. Go for a drive.
Maybe even do an activity that you both used to do together. There are so many ways to honor and celebrate your relationship that make today a little easier. Hafeez says this type of planning and support is most important for men this Father's Day who didn't lose a dad, but lost a child.
If you know someone who's gone through that, be there for them, plan ahead, say, would you like to do something for Father's Day? Instead of feeling terrible about it, especially if this father has other children, that might be a little easier, but just saying, I'm here, we can do whatever you want. We can go play a round of golf, we can sit and just have a couple of beers, just whatever this dad wants to do, because honestly, nothing is going to make that loss any easier, but that day can get a lot better if they're spending it with someone who, be their honest, true self with. They can maybe not afraid to be a little tearful or a little more vulnerable around someone. So if you can be that person, that would be amazing.
Hafeez says this applies to everyone, not just those who are still openly grieving. As we've spoken about in past segments, there's no getting over the death of a child. The parents hold those memories close and want to continue speaking about them, even years after their son or daughter has passed. Helping to keep their names and memories alive can be one of the best gifts you can give on Father's Day and every day after. And if you're struggling with a death, estrangement, or anything in between, Hafeez says don't be ashamed to ask for help. While therapy has become more destigmatized over the last few years, the CDC reports that men are still less likely than women to seek professional help. In addition to this gap, it can be hard to recognize when a third party is needed. Hafeez says that she didn't realize her own distress after her dad's passing until she couldn't stop crying during a regular medical checkup. It was then that her doctor recommended a few psychologists.
And so for the next year and a half, I saw an incredible therapist who was a doctoral level psychologist. Funny enough, we had gone to the same program for our doctorates, but 30 years apart. And it was incredible. I very, very, very sadly lost him to COVID, to one of the horrible waves. And he was instrumental in healing me. I mean, I didn't see it as it was happening, but the things that happened as a result, I met someone else. I had been divorced that same year that my dad passed away. I met someone, I got married. Life just came a full circle. And I owe so much of that to being able to speak to someone about the greatest loss in my life, which was my dad. So I can honestly tell you that therapy, grief counseling can do wonders for you.
Hafeez believes that therapy can help you move forward in ways you may not imagine are possible. The safe space allows you to talk about whatever you need without being forced into conversations you may not feel ready for.
I didn't show up and talk about my dad the entire time. In fact, more often than not, I talked about life, relationships, but it helped heal me because I had a safe, non-judgmental space to speak about him. Seeking help has never been easier because we have therapists who are available by Zoom, who are available by telehealth, and it can just make such a huge difference. If you're someone who someday wants to be a parent, or you are a parent and you want to do things differently, there is nothing better than you can do for yourself or your children than seeking professional help and sorting out those issues. It pays dividends down the road. It can really change your life in a way you can't quite imagine. Parents are incredibly influential and critical to our lives, even as adults, and to pretend otherwise is just silly.
You can find more information about Dr. Sanam Hafeez and all of our guests on our website, radiohealthjournal.org. For more behind the scenes, follow Radio Health Journal on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our writer-producer is Kristen Farah. Our production manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Nancy Benson. Coming up next week on Radio Health Journal.
Most OBGYNs, there was this famous study that they only have about an hour of menopause training. That is a very small amount of training for what is a very long amount of time for women.
Your survival guide to menopause.
Then exposing the truth behind common medical myths.
Just because a little bit of something can be good, can be very good, life-saving even, doesn't mean that more is going to be better.
All that and more on Radio Health Journal. I'm Elizabeth Westfield, host of Radio Health Journal. If you enjoy listening to Radio Health Journal, you'll also like our sister show, Viewpoints, which covers a wide array of topics from education to history to the environment. Here's a preview of what they're covering this week on Viewpoints.
Since the 2020 census, San Francisco lost over 40,000 people, about a 5% decline.
What was once hot is now not. Understanding the population peaks and dips across America. Then,
we've spent billions of dollars enforcing cannabis laws, and this is money that in the neighborhoods that have been most targeted isn't going to schools, to hospitals, community centers.
Making amends for the war on cannabis. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth this week on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
Listen to Viewpoints on your favorite radio station, iTunes, and Stitcher.
And that's Radio Health Journal for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more. And check Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify for a library of past programs. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and information about our guests at radiohealthjournal.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Radio Health Journal.
Pulling up to Mickey D's just for drinks? Oh yeah, that's me. Nothing extra, just perfection and a straw. Coming in hot for the coldest cups on the block. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Get a creamy Oreo frappe or McCafe smoothie for less with 20% off any purchase of $10 or more. Only on the app. Limited time only at participating McDonald's. Valid one time per day. Visit McDonald's app for details.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.